Hi, friends and fellow Earth Angels. It's Gladys, and welcome back to another one of my weekly Sunday card readings. And this spread will start by covering July 17th through the 23rd, or whenever you're guided to watch, as I always intend these to be timeless readings. So welcome, friends. I missed last week because I was training. I had a full weekend of Reiki training, so we officially have 6 new Reiki 1 and 2 practitioners now integrating into our community, which is so beautiful and so wonderful. And I was just taking the time to focus the energy and the intention on that. So I thank you for continuing to show up. I thank you continue to watch. I'm very well aware of how these platforms work, and they work best when you have an abundance of videos and you're showing up regularly. And realistically, that is not realistic for most people who are doing integrative work. So all that to say is that every week, or every time I put out a video, I consistently get 50, 60, 70 people who watch these videos. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for, it just shows me that you have a desire to look for the videos, that you're receiving benefit from them, and that you're enjoying them. So it really does help me navigate, how I want to move forward with this channel. I do have a question. I have been playing around with the idea of doing a live reading online through YouTube, maybe. So I'm curious, maybe I tend to record these on a Friday morning, afternoon, or very rarely a Saturday. And I was wondering if you would be interested in a live recording of these weekly readings instead of watching the pre-recorded version. Sometimes it's a lot of fun. I still have to navigate the technology about that, and I'm just wondering if there's an interest in live readings. I mean, I would be on, camera doing a live reading, not necessarily reading people, but reading the cards so that you can see them live come out. So anyway, I was just curious about that. Any thoughts about that? And then also, too, if any of you have any insights about some other platforms that you have found, if you're watching other creators, if there are any other platforms that you find that are really easy, that are maybe more private and intimate, I'm just curious. You could always send me an email or a private message me if you had other platforms that you find other creators are using that you really like. So I am growing and expanding, so with that comes change, and I am trying to be conscious of the people who have stayed and watched these videos for the last 3 years every week. So I would love to know what you would like more of, or if you'd like me to just keep doing what I'm doing. That would be helpful too. All right, let's get into the energies this week. So we just dropped into the Capricorn full moon. I think it's always great to have a heads up, especially when you're working with energies, so that you can navigate how to use these energies, especially the challenge, the adversity, the discomfort of the vibration that these energies bring up, how you can use that energy for your benefit. Remember, it's all good when you know how to lean into fear, when you know how to lean into discouragement, when you know how to lean into the insecurities of not knowing. It can be such an empowering experience when you get through it. So that really is a big intention for why I share the content that I share on this channel specifically. So Capricorn full moon. So the insights this week, this would be a great moon if you want to detoxify your life. So here's the thing. If your body needs a detox, what's going to happen is you're going to feel bloated. You're going to feel sluggish. You're going to feel moody. You're going to feel like cravings ramped up. So if you've been feeling that way, wonderful, because it's your body telling you what it needs. Now the mind, when the mind gets activated in those spaces, we can then start to bully ourselves, shame ourselves. And if you recognize that you're starting to put yourself down or shame yourself or force yourself into let's say detoxing from a place of shame, you want to practice maybe gentleness and nurturing through those experiences, and maybe approaching these changes that your body's desiring in a different way. And my big energy, my big theme this week is all about nurturing. I keep feeling that energy is like we really need to shift our energy towards soothing and nurturing and being kind, recognizing, okay, this is my body telling me that it's time to make adjustments. I have been working with many people the last few weeks who have been talking about their challenges with food, let's say. Food and overeating, craving sugar and salt and oil. And I'm not saying these things because I don't want to activate more of your cravings, but it really is your body showing you that it's time to make adjustments. And what I've learned to say thank you for that, and minor adjustments with maybe drinking more water, maybe going for a walk. In those experiences, I mean, I'm not a registered dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, but I have had challenges my entire life with food and mental health in the area around food. And so I'm just merely sharing what has worked for me. This is by no means advice from a licensed professional. So when but it is coming from understanding the energy and the sensitivities of an earth angel and the audience that I am working with, right? And so you are rebellious in nature, right? If you don't want to do something, you're going to stand your ground. So why wouldn't it be the same if there is a part of you that's being a bully? Don't eat that sugar. Don't eat that oil. Go that extra mile, right? And what happens is it starts to wear us down, where the internal parts of us become at odds, like that inner masculine, inner feminine are now rebelling against each other. And all that mental exhaustion is just going to make us tired, right? And so I always encourage to invite in prayer Archangel Raphael. He's the angel of motivation. He's the angel of healing. He's the angel of miracles. So first off, before you make any changes, invite in the divine in your life for assistance. The Holy Spirit is phenomenal at the golden nuggets showing up in your life, showing you a pathway, because what's happening is you're making changes in new ways, in these new frequencies, in these new vibrations we're working with, and the old ways just aren't working anymore. And I know a lot of you have been doing the same things over and over and over again, because that's what people say, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, but yet we're still not feeling motivated or empowered or uplifted or thriving or energetically abundant or whatever, you're working towards. So this Capricorn full moon is a really great time to dump all those emotional and mental, what's the word? Bullying, I guess, or the shoulds. Right? Should do this, should do that, need to do this, need to do that. And what's happening is a lot of people are recognizing the desire to make changes to feel better inside and out, right? And the biggest thing I get all is, why can't I do it? Why can't I do it? Why can't I get it? I know I need to. Why can't I do it? And, the fact of the matter is it's not time yet. The divine is definitely giving you a heads up that changes are upon you. Because how many times have you overindulged in something so much so that your body now repels it? Like you can't even be around it anymore. So you're in that pendulum swing right now where you're starting to get really full. Maybe it's with emotions, maybe with food physically, maybe it's with people around you. It just feels like this is the energy where people are starting to get full. And if you can speak to yourself kindly and make that gesture and say, okay, I recognize that. Okay, thank you. Show me what's next. You'll see that you can co-create a change with the universe. Anyway, so here's the thing. So I like to use insights from Yasmin Boland's Moonology diary. So here we have, this is such a powerful full moon. Remember, we got 2 weeks of this energy. And it can feel like the intensity of an eclipse moon, but it isn't. But it's going to feel eruptive because it is so close to working with the planet Pluto. So a lot of eruption, a lot of energies, a lot of frustrations, annoyances can come up these 2 weeks. Remember, it's all good when you can recognize it, when you know that, oh, great, I'm supposed to be feeling this way because the energies are squeezing on my sensitive body right now. You can take a deep breath, relax, breathe, soften, and open, and be receptive to divine guidance on how to move forward, how to work through that energy. I do have to say, my office is open. I'm doing a lot of energy work for people, and if you are able to go get some energy work in the next couple weeks with something releasing, maybe working with a body worker, a massage therapist, an energy therapy practitioner, or even therapy, this would be a good time to be open to support, right, for that. Let's see here. It says the issues you've been ignoring in the hope they'll go away are the very issues most likely to be stirred up by this full moon. And I know this feels icky. I know it feels uncomfortable. This is why I really chose to work with the divine feminine energy this week, the goddess energy, hoping that it will shine a light and support in a way, because working with feelings and emotions, especially when they get stirred up, are uncomfortable. We can feel restless, we can feel overwhelmed. And so the beauty is you're experiencing being human, right? You're experiencing all facets of your humanity and your divinity, right? And so we can embrace it in a place of acceptance and openness. You'd be amazed at how the insight rises up to make the adjustments that your spirit and soul is calling you to do. So again, we're talking about this full moon is a pot stirred, and evidently what we need now, or what would be most beneficial, is starting to come up. It's starting to come into fruition. So it says, if you know that someone or something in your life has become toxic or unbalanced or unhealthy, I prefer those words, balanced or unhealthy, you need to clear the air, detox, and clean. That includes relationship situations at work and even just your home if it's become really messy. If pride has been holding you back, or you've been acting purely from your ego, I know, I want, it's all about me, right? And we all have it, right? But once you can recognize it and saying, wow, the intensity of that doesn't feel good, let me shift over into my heart mind, bringing your attention from your mind literally down into your heart. Why can't I make this happen? If you're really challenged with control and trying to make things happen and making things go your way, right? When we're working with flexibility and when we're working with change, those are the areas where we feel the resistance. So again, this full moon can blow things up so that you have to come from the heart and leave the ego out of it. It says there's good news though. Any crisis that this full moon seemingly brings about can bring healing too. So again, this is just kind of like a heads up, like if these things are coming to fruition, or there's these intensities of the people or the energies around you, you know, being able to check in with yourself and say, okay, am I coming out of alignment with this? Is this something that I have to face within? It's just an inquiry, right? Because we're not blaming and we're not shaming, we're not going outside of ourselves. This is now time to go in. But the beautiful thing is, like, once you realize it and notice it, being able to just acknowledge, I see this, I feel this, being able to say to somebody, you know what, I need to take space right now, right? Being able to, if someone around you is getting amped up, is getting overwhelmed, being able to take a breath and go within yourself to be able to give them back that energy, right? Because it's something they're going through and something that they need to learn from. And it's not always our responsibility to fix, save, change, and make that better. Right? So in this space, it can really get sticky icky. So I want to shine some beautiful light for you this week. And again, you might not be going through these things personally, but you may have people close to you experiencing these things. So you want to always invite in the divine, send them love, send them support. If you're a new body worker, energy worker, you can send Reiki energy or whatever your like foundation is. If it could be prayer, it could be sending guides or masters, to them, right? Because that would be so beneficial, because it might help them see the light, right? And being able to make change, inspire change that is in alignment with their higher will. So the cards that I'm using this week, let's see, I'm going to start with the Goddess Guidance Oracle cards. And then we will get a message of healing from the Soulful Woman cards. Your action steps this week will come from Mystical Wisdom. And what you're being gifted with this week will come from the secret language of light. And then I've been wanting to share these cards with you for a while. I got these cards for my birthday, and I am in love with them. I find myself continuing to go to them, and they're very intricate. I'm learning a lot about them. And if you are collecting right now, this would be a wonderful deck to have as part of your collection. It's really part of a new vibration of energy of the maternal and the nurturing and the sacred feminine. So that card deck is the Earthcraft Oracle. Oh my gosh, I love these cards, friends. So I can't wait to share them with you towards the end. All right, so let me open space. Let me invite in all your guardian angels and guides, the archangels, the ascended masters, the divine mother and father, and all their holy beings of light that would like to assist with this guidance for you this week, July 17th through the 23rd. And I'm going to ask that the messages that come through be for your best and highest good and the best and highest good of all concerned. All right, I want to connect my heart to the heart of the goddesses in this oracle card deck. Goddesses, what is the most beneficial goddess that can support us this week in the intensity of this beautiful Capricorn full moon, purging, releasing? What guide would be, or what goddess would be most beneficial to work with this week to support us in that? We go. Yep, that. All right, let's begin. And we have, Butterfly Maiden, transformation. Oh my gosh, I just spent how long? I don't know, at least 5-10 minutes talking about change, right? And here Butterfly Maiden shows up. I think it's so beautiful. It's so perfect. It says, you are experiencing enormous change right now, which brings great blessings. And the thing is that I'm experiencing is, like with the people I'm working with, is that the change is happening on the inside out. What was once acceptable is no longer acceptable. What was once tolerable is no longer tolerable. The cycles that you used to gravitate towards are no longer part of that. And when things are starting to cycle out of your life, it can become very lonely. It can become isolating, and that's fears, right? Because things are falling away. So when you can recognize that feeling or notice that energy, being able to switch over into love, right? Because really the fact of the matter is we're never alone. Just like we have light on this planet, we have the divine on this planet. And all we have to do is turn our attention to that and invite that energy in. So again, this is a 6 universal year, right? So 6 is the energy of home and family and connection and healing and self-expression and communication. It is all about the community, and we're redefining what those words mean. So this could literally mean your relationship with yourself is changing. And if that's the case, then most certainly your relationship with the people around you are changing. So I never encourage like impulsive change, like just quitting or walking away, or we never want to make change from a place of anger or frustration. That the key is to notice it and know that change is upon us and being able to invite in the divine for assistance. So I feel like the Butterfly Maiden is encouraging you this week to invite her in to support you in your transformation. One of my students in my class last weekend for Reiki and the Reiki 2 training, she had a bag that said, if I can, and I'm paraphrasing here, if change didn't exist, we wouldn't have butterflies. So it was something like, if change didn't exist, we wouldn't have butterflies. So the reason why we have butterflies on this planet, and you know who you are, who had that bag. And if you're watching and you want to comment in the description the exact quote, that would be so wonderful. But if change didn't exist, we wouldn't have butterflies, was basically the gist. And it really hit me, it struck me, because obviously we love butterflies. They're so beautiful, and butterflies only come from massive change, right? And so how fitting that the butterfly maiden shows up this week to encourage you, to invite her in, to support you in clearing out and detoxifying old ways of being. And what's happening is you're becoming even stronger as an individual, right? You're becoming even strengthened, standing on your own 2 feet. And then what happens from that place, from that deep inner knowing, and really the knowing of who you are and your true identity, right? Really working with that energy, then all the people, places, things, and ideas that come into your life from that space are a byproduct of the change you've been making within, rather than doing something to get something, rather than doing the spiritual work to get the boyfriend, to get the job, to get the money, right? Because I can tell you, you're only going to align to things that are going to be shadow teachers that are going to be hard and challenging. And so we're just kind of turning the dial here and saying, okay, as I do this work for myself, and as I feel empowered and get to that point where we need nothing, let's say, we're living, we're present, we're enjoying our lives, then all those other things naturally flow into your life as a byproduct. It's so beautiful. And so, but it does require change. It does require us facing the ego, the lowercase e, ego, the lowercase l, light, right? It requires us to look at it, which is the fears, the worries, the doubts, the insecurities, and notice that there's something for us to learn there, being able to lean into them. Again, it really is challenging to do it on your own. So I would encourage you to reach out to a spiritual advisor, a mentor, a psycho-spiritual therapist, somebody who's integrative, holistic, integrating these frequencies from like a mental health perspective and a spiritual perspective in healthy ways. So the message of healing this week. What additional message, Butterfly Maiden, do you have for the Earth Angels this week? What is your message of healing for them this week? That's too many. Oh, let's go with that one. All right, so we have Sanctuary. So beautiful. Card number 8. It says, in my inner sanctuary, I connect to peace, inner quietude, and comfort. Wow. Your eyes are so full eyes. I feel like this beautiful energy is calling you back within. I feel like this is an energy that lives within you. There's so much wisdom, there's so much peace, there's so much support and love in this, and this is within you. So it's card number 8. 8 can also, it's the energy of abundance, it's the energy of infinity, but it also can represent cycles, right? So this energy in this inner sanctuary, in this pause and being able to go within, we can really look at these cycles and these patterns and explore other ways to be able to move through them, right? Especially when it comes to working with other people, right? Your family members, maybe your parents, maybe your children, maybe coworkers that you're with every day. Maybe it's a route on the same way to work every day that's become a challenge. The inner sanctuary, when you're able to go in and create space, can speak to answers and give you guidance in a different way that you may not have seen before. So it can certainly shine a light as opposed to going external, tell me what to do, what should I do, right? And so we're really honing our skills and being able to navigate what that inner voice sounds like and trusting in that voice that speaks within. Maybe it's wisdom, maybe it's insight, maybe it's intuition. I've heard maybe it's your satellites. There's so many different words. The goddess, right? The inner mother. There's so many different words for it, whatever resonates with you. So that's your message of healing this week. This is a call back within, especially when you're feeling activated, when you're feeling hot, when you're feeling spicy. How can you, in those moments, this is how you learn, right? This is how you can use those experiences and transform them. When you start feeling overwhelmed, or somebody around you is getting activated, how can you, and you feel it in your stomach, or you feel it in your chest, or maybe in your head, how can you pause in that moment, take a deep breath, and bring your attention back to yourself? Let them have that space, right? And again, as an empathic person, as a highly sensitive person, you're going to feel it. But this is a great time to learn how to eject from that energy. How do you breathe through it, bring it back to yourself, and then take space? It's such a powerful boundary, right? And the inner sanctuary is reminding you that is a peaceful, sacred place that you can only create within yourself. Oh, wow, that's beautiful. So let's see here. Action steps. Okay, so that being said, what action steps can you take this week to support your healing and to support these changes? What action steps can you take this week? Support your healing, growth, change. I just want to make sure it's on camera. Oh, all right, we'll go with that one. Resilience. I just talked about this. So rise above tribulations. Perfect. So again, just to kind of expand on what I was just saying, is that in order to become resilient, we need to be squeezed, right? We need to be, I don't want to say tested because it sounds like punishment, but we need experiences. That's a good word. We need experiences. So sometimes being around people who are intense in their anger or their frustration. Now, this is not to say that if you are in an abusive situation, to stay there and practice resiliency. That's not healthy. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you're on the highway, let's say, and there are people around you and they're beeping, or there are people on the road and they're driving aggressive, or maybe you got some people, maybe they're neighbors that are yelling at each other, or maybe, there's unrealistic expectations that are being put on your time, or maybe somebody's really sad, or they're really frustrated with something and they're just venting, right? And it really is, you're in that energy. That's the difference, right? We're not talking about somebody who is in an abusive situation, because, the answer is always going to be get out, get away from that situation, and get yourself in a safe space. So that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about when somebody is going through their own change, when you're around somebody who's going through their dark night of the soul, or they're going through their healing and they're awakening and they're shedding and they're purging. And let's say this person lives in your house, or maybe you go into the office every day, or maybe it's just on the route. Maybe it's just a traffic route that you go on every day. How can you practice relax, breathe, soften, and open instead of resistance, right? How can you build up that resiliency and not necessarily take it on as your own, like they're doing this to me? How can you take space and gift that energy back to them? Because again, empathic people are used to taking on, for example, if someone's crying, the empathic person maybe want to fix that person so that they'll stop crying, so the empathic person will feel better, right? And so in this new space, what we can do is we can practice holding space, or we can practice being in that space and understanding that we certainly were in times where we were prickly and ornery and uncomfortable and frustrated, right? And so you don't necessarily have to hold the bucket for the person. You can be there and say things like, wow, that sounds really hard. Wow, that's really frustrating. Wow, I can understand why that could be so overwhelming, right? And sometimes all people need is to be validated in that way. Sometimes all they need is to be heard. Sometimes it's your own voice and saying, you know what, the way you talk to me makes me feel blah, blah, blah. Or let's see if I can think of a better option. Being able to come from the place of Let me think here. No, thank you. Not right now. Maybe tomorrow, right? So maybe somebody is wanting you to do something, for example, and they're pressuring you and it's getting really uncomfortable. And maybe there's a part of you that used to cave and saying, oh, all right. And then you'd go do the thing and you'd be really, you wouldn't want to, then you'd feel bad the next day or you feel zapped. So even practicing that resiliency of being able to say, no, thank you, not right now, maybe tomorrow, I'm not feeling it today, and being okay with the tension that creates, right? Because remember, as you make change, people are used to you being a certain way, and maybe you've been available and accessible to everybody. And that is something that's a common thing with Earth Angels, but as they evolve out of that, they very much enjoy their sacred space, their time alone with themselves, they very much enjoy their peace, right? And so when you're making these changes, it can really activate that disappointment, right? So how can you be okay with disappointing that person and being a champion for yourself and being an advocate for yourself, right? I feel like that's what this card is teaching, is that in order for us to learn about that, yeah, it feels awful. Yeah, it feels terrible. We never want to disappoint somebody, but is it coming from their wanting you to please them? Right? They're wanting you to do what they want to do. And there's a part of you that's saying, like, my body needs rest, or I need to cancel that because I'm not feeling well, or I don't like how I feel when I go to those places or I'm around those people, right? It doesn't mean they're good or bad. It just means it's not working for you. And so I feel like that's part of the energy, right? And knowing that you can always go back to this inner sanctuary, that this is happening, right? Big change is happening right now, which will bring about great blessings, but we need to be okay with whatever happens next, that things are coming and going right now. Thank you, angels. I literally just, or thank you, divine, I literally just blanked. Like I was in the middle of a thought and it just ended. And I'm like, well, what am I trying to say? And then that came up. So that makes sense, right? All right. Now let's go on to what you're being gifted with this week. All that being said, what are you being gifted with this week? It's funny, this is how the divine works. So like when they're done with their energy, they're just done. It just ends. And then we're on to something else. So, perfect. What are you being gifted with this week? What are you being gifted with this week? Enlightenment. Oh, it's card number 7. So you're being gifted with, it feels like answers, like the why. So the enlightenment is being able to be in a situation that's uncomfortable. Like let's say somebody's putting unrealistic demands on your time and energy. And you lean into that and say, no, thank you, not right now, I'm not available, I don't like the way that makes me feel, so I'm going to pass. You see all these very kind ways of saying no, right? And in that, when you do that, it opens up space for enlightenment. It opens up space for wisdom. Why? Because you are saying yes to the things you want to say yes to, no to the things you want to say no to, and it becomes incredibly empowering, right? That's where the inner sanctuary can speak. That's where the champion comes in. Like, I'm so proud that you're putting yourself first. I'm so proud that you are nourishing yourself. I'm so proud that you are so self-aware of what you need to thrive and feel energetically abundant. And it could even be that with food, my friends. Right? So if cravings are kicking up with this week, let's even go even further. So if cravings are kicking up this week, who knows, maybe the enlightenment will be like what the emotional connection is to sugar, or what the emotional connection is to salt, or what the emotional connection is to comfort food, right? So sometimes when we can recognize it and say no to that experience that we know isn't contributing to the quality of life to ourselves, we can then open up to the why, to the enlightenment. Then we go searching, then we go looking, right? And remember, as I spoke in the beginning, we're doing this from a place of empowerment, not from a place of shame, or not from a place of frustration or annoyance and beating ourselves up, because that's just going to make you more tired. All that mental exhaustion is going to wipe you out, and you're not going to feel motivated, and it will activate, let's say, those cravings even more, or it'll activate the bully energies even more, right? And so we're really working on shifting and changing from the inside out, right? And so wisdom, you're being gifted with enlightenment this week. Maybe it's the aha moments, maybe it's the awarenesses, maybe it's the oracle card that shows up for you this week, maybe it is the something on YouTube or Facebook, or maybe it's the picture or the quote that shows up on Instagram, or maybe it's a sign that you see, a literal billboard that you see on the highway signs, or maybe it's something that you see on a truck that just speaks to you. So again, this comes in the present moment, right? When we are here and now looking at what's going on. So I know I've said this often, but I have a friend that said a long time ago to me, be where your butt is. If your butt is here in the car, be there. If your butt is at work, be there. If your butt is home, be there. If your butt is at the supermarket, be there. Be aware, be present. That's when the divine speaks. That's where the messages and the guidance is all around us. So many times I've looked back and, things have come up. I'm like, oh, I missed that time. Maybe I look at a receipt 3 weeks after I got it, and maybe there's a 444 on the receipt. And I laugh. I'm like, oh man, I missed that golden nugget at that moment, but I got it now. So thank you. Right? So sometimes it makes me think, like, how much am I missing by not being fully present and immersed in the experience that I'm having in the moment? So that could also be a message for some of you this week. If you're existing in the mind, like so far in the past, so far in the future, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, I want, where is, how, when, what if, these are all dreadful energies that just activate stories, right? Where we're existing in the mind. So if you can drop down, take a deep breath, pause, relax, breathe, soften, and open, pause, and go into the heart mind, dropping your attention literally from your mind to your heart, and being able to open up to the energy of enlightenment. Show me truth. What do I need to know about this situation? Those are all ways that you can work with and ask, right? The divine abides by the law of free will. So asking and inviting that energy in, show me truth, is so powerful. And I have to tell you, friends, when you ask and you shall receive. So you also want to be ready, because chances are the answers you get will invoke and provoke change, which of course is going to bring what? Great blessings. But the ego doesn't always want us to see that fear-based ego doesn't want us to see it, right? It wants us to stay in the comfort zone. And as many of you know, that comfort zone is becoming very uncomfortable. All right, so let me finish with these cards. And again, these are my new deck. I got these for my birthday, and it is the Earthcraft Oracle. And the energies of this are so maternal. So I'm going to ask Earth Mother, the great Earth Mother, going into that womb space of healing and rest and nourishment. What is your overall message of love for the Earth Angels this week? So there's a word on the card, but I'm also going to read the book too. What is your message of love or support? What's your message of support this week for the Earth Angels? How do you want to support them this week? These cards are awesome. They even shuffle amazing. I mean, I cannot speak highly enough about these cards. Let's go with these two. We have Prophetic Dreams, card number 3. So the Earth Mother is coming to you in dreams, and the Ancients, card number 9. Oh my gosh. So maybe the Ancients are coming into your dreams this week. Again, you see all these guides. I think I've said 1,000 times in this video, okay, maybe not 1,000, but a bunch of times, is to call in the guides, ask them for assistance, show me truth. And I feel like this is just validating that they're listening, they're here, they're with you. And of course, we have animal medicine, right? We have native, we have ancient, we have very old vibrations of wisdom that we can connect with, right? I mean, we have powerful energies here. We have deer, we have raven, we have wolf, we have Native American, we have Indian, we have Asian. I mean, it's just, so maybe it's Hinduism, maybe it's Egyptian, maybe it's Native American, maybe it is Tibetan, maybe it is, oh gosh, there's so many different facets. So I feel like this is just an example of different thought streams that can assist and can certainly show up in your dreams. So I feel like that's your message of love, which it comes from the inner sanctuary. Sometimes it's literal dreams, or sometimes it's when we're daydreaming. Right? I know sometimes little boys and girls, they get in trouble for daydreaming. They get in trouble for being in the imagination, and they get in trouble for, drifting off. But that's a big part of the intuitive journey, right? It's a big part of the spiritual journey. So I feel like, I don't even feel like I need to read the book on this, because I feel like the ancients are saying that they're coming in this space to speak to you, to help you with enlightenment, to help you to rise above the trials and the tribulations. And really, it is learning how to become stronger in those energies, to become more empowered, setting those boundaries for yourself. And in that comes true transformation, right? Wow. So good. So what numbers do we have? We have 8, 7, 3, 9, which is wonderful. 7 is inner 8, right? And it could be cycles, could be abundance. 3 is all about like the Trinity. 3 is about like masters working with you. 3 is a very creative energy and a very expressive energy. And then we have 9, which is endings, right? So how wonderful that we start and end with these two energies, where, with every ending, there's always a new beginning, right? And with every new beginning, it's come from an ending. And so maybe really being able to lean in and embrace the cycles. I know a lot of Native American energy works with the cycles, right? The cycles of life, the cycles of earth, being able to embrace the ending, the mysterious, the unknown, the uncertain, and being able to transform and grow and evolve and really live, right, in your humanity and your divinity here on this planet. So, I mean, there's so much more I can say to this, but I'm going to end it there. So thank you so much for watching. Let me close space and thanking all your guardian angels and guides, the archangels, the ascended masters, the divine mother and father, and all their holy beings of light that assisted with this guidance, especially the goddess of the goddess of transformation, the butterfly maiden. I want to thank the divine mother for her assistance as well. And I'm going to ask that any healing that was started continue for as long as it needs to be done. All right, so if I can support you in any way this week, my calendar is wide open for the most part for in-office sessions. I do still have some availability for video chat sessions, which I'll probably keep for a while. I don't feel like, I don't plan on closing that down, because I am still working with people remotely, so that's available. But I am working with energy therapies like Reiki and integrated energy therapy and magnified healing, and you can go to my website and click on schedule now, and that will take you to my online booking system. And if you click on add to visit on that online booking system, it will tell you all about those services. And if I can support you this week, come on in. And I'm glad to support you, of course, through these videos. So thank you so much for watching. I love you. God loves you so much. Trust in the divine. Trust your intuition. And I send you love with heavenly hugs. Bye for now.